James, my grandson, he come up. He'd stood around me for a long time there. He's a little bit shy and don't talk much. He said, "Grandpa," he said, "I've got 2 whittling sticks." I said, "Yeah? Yeah?" He said, "One for me?" I said, "Yeah, one for you." Brought out, reached in his pocket and brought out 2 little pieces of cedar, you know. And he got out his knife and we stood there and whittled, or sat there and whittled. It was a big thing to him and it's a big thing to me. Shoot, you boys will know sometimes you like to whittle with your grandsons. Just like sit down and whittle with them. And we whittled till we cut our shavings pretty tough fine to make those good cedar whittling sticks last. And we run out of whittling sticks about the same time. But that done me good to know that he'd think of me in that way. "Grandpa brought you a whittling stick, or brought 2 whittling sticks." Yeah, I like that.
This is about a place and the people who have made it their home. It's about a county in the Ozark region of southern Missouri that hasn't changed quite as fast as the rest of the country. The families who live here have been here for generations, and their attachment to the place and its traditions is an intimate one. The first settlers began coming here soon after 1800. They came from the highlands of Kentucky and Tennessee and the Carolinas. They built their homes along the creeks and in the hollows, wherever they could find a fertile piece of land. And they stayed.
Martha Rebecca Hind was born July 10, 1886 at Ink, Missouri. Becky passed away November 26, 1978 in her home at the age of 92 years, 4 months, and 16 days. She is survived by 4 children, 12 grandchildren.
Becky Hines was the county's oldest resident, a direct descendant of the first pioneer family.
I think every heart here today is grateful that we have had her so many years, that she's been such a blessing to so many lives. And now that she has gone,
with the passing of Becky's generation, another tie with the past is lost. But in this county, for a while at least, the old values, traditions, and kinships endure. It's 5:30 in the morning. Seaman Rayfield, Edward Pyatt, and Edward's nephew Eugene are taking their dogs on a fox hunt.
Go on, Bruno. Get out of that sort. Here, Wheeler. All right, go out there and see what you can find.
In a lifetime of hunting, Seaman Rayfield has never killed a fox. It's not part of the sport.
Did you have running up here then?
No, I see them boys, that's the jury's dog box.
Oh, I see this dog box sitting over here.
These men are here simply to listen to their dogs run and to visit with each other.
Fog might be a little bad to see them very far. They've hit.
How can you tell what's going on out there?
Well, up through the years and since I was a boy, my ear's been trained to tell you to know what that dog was doing, and it's just like watching a horse race. Edward and I both can tell you which dogs are carrying the lead, even they may not be 50-foot distance between them. And we'll tell you when another dog's taken over, tell you the lead, and of course it's...
And what dog it is.
And what dog it is. We know all their mouths. They may be but very little difference in them, but there'll be enough of difference that we'll know.
Why is it that dogs mean so much to the men around here?
I'll tell you, to me, I can come in from work and be wore out, just, you know, aggravated, and go hunting and have a good race and come home and be in a good humor. That's what it is. It sure is. And lots of people, you know, they just rely on that dog. The guy that coon hunts, he may rely on that dog a lot of it for his living. And that, you know, just the love of animal, I guess.
A lot of men, they come home, or before they get home, they'll stop at the neighborhood bar, and that's their thing. They stop at the bar and have a few beers and maybe come home and eat and go back to the bar that night and spend some time there. Well, I'd way rather go feed my dogs or get up and go have a fox race than to go to the neighborhood bar and drink that stuff that they have there. It's, well, or, of course, that's one leverage I maybe hold with my wife. Edward and I say, well, there's other sports that we can pursue that men have. Now, take your choice. We don't necessarily say that in so many words, but it's kind of an unwritten law that we're going to do something now. So if you stop us from fox hunting and make it, put the pressure on hard enough, you never can tell what we might break out to doing.
Willie and Villa Cutts have been married 59 years. Today is their anniversary celebration.
That's quite an accomplishment, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so.
Well, when we first started out, why, it was really hard work because you didn't have no conveniences and washed on a board and water in the tub. And we milked cows and we fed the hogs. And it was, everything you done was hard work.
She said she don't know you, so she don't want to come up and see you.
Why, no, I'm not a cat. I'm a Julian.
Grandma.
Okay, then. All right.
She was young, was with her mother yet. And I got after them and run them all day and finally run them in a corral out here this side of White Only. And shut this little thing up, wasn't any bigger a rabbit. And I've got that horse yet.
She must be about 20 years older.
Oh, she's just 20 years old I am.
Well, she's not good gray-headed yet, so.
But I believe she's right back here, and I'd like you to see her. And I've been over it a little bit for her.
Come here, bud. Come here, bud. I don't know whether it's good looks or good treatment. I don't never have to go after my horse and my cows. There's my two little things. Come here, bud.
Willie came to this farm with his father when he was 9 years old. That was over 70 years ago.
There's my cow. Come, Evan. Now, if you men just step right back there, and she'll come right out this gate, and we'll let her come in. Come on, Evan. Come on. Come on, Evan. Come on. Come on.
Willie Cutts is a prosperous farmer. Yet each spring, he still prefers to work his garden with his favorite horse, Ribbon.
How come you still plow with a horse?
I want to do a good job. Right here's what I plow with. My double shovel's laying over yonder. Well, the woman said for me to show you my hog. And I sure want to do that. So down here. You know, a fella's got to know his hogs to go in there with that. That pig was given to me. My neighbor up here, he sold some pigs, and he wanted me to haul them off. I didn't charge him anything. Well, he said I was wanting to buy a little old pig for a slop pig, you see. He said, I'll just give you one. And I've just owned it a week now. But now the next time you come back, if it's a living, it won't look like that.
What's going on here? What's happening? What are you making?
Well, we're just building the brush arbor.
Where did the custom of the brush arbor come in, you know?
Oh, goodness. Dad, did they have brush arbors when you was a little boy?
Yeah,
He's 81. I don't know. I guess they've always had brush arbors in this country. Well, I suppose actually before they ever had a church, you know, they'd just gather together and they'd just make them a shade, and then usually in the spring and then by winter maybe they had enough, you know, congregation to build a church or move inside.
Is it like the church service?
Well, something, you know, we don't have a program. We just kind of get together and start singing songs, and we believe in letting God do the thing. We just start singing songs and praising God, and there may be a half a dozen of us preach one night, you know. We all, I don't worry about who's going to preach because I'll always get my 15 cents worth in anyway, you know. I get up and we do that. We believe in the freedom of the Spirit and letting everybody, you know, take part. That's one reason people will come to Brush Arbor that you can't get into a church house at all, because they'll come in and sit in their car, and you know, God can get a hold of them in the car just the same. They come to hear the singing and the preaching and so on and so forth, and so the music, and God gets hold of them.
Oh, I want to see him look on his face, let him sing forever on his saving grace, on the streets of glory that lift my soul. There's all past, all my past, never to rejoice. Before me pillows rise from mighty deep, then my Lord lets my bond still set me free, and leads me gently on through this worldly road. He's a real friend to me, oh I love him so. Don't you wanna see him look on his face, let him sing forever on his saving grace, on the streets of glory that lift my voice. There's all past, all that past, never to rejoice.
I thank God for Brother Monroe, a new preacher just starting out, and we want to get behind him 100% and pray the power of God down on him. Amen. Pray then on him, because he can't preach a lick without the anointing no more than any of the rest of us can. But oh, when the power of God comes down and gets on that old boy, I'll tell you, he'll preach us a sermon. Praise God. Brother Monroe.
You know, I'm kind of nervous still, maybe.
Oh, Lord.
You know, I think when it comes time, God give us what to say.
Oh, bless you.
You know, it kind of entered in my mind once, maybe I have studied the Bible today, about Job. But you know, they took Job's cattle and everything else, I reckon.
Oh, precious Jesus.
And Job, he kept hanging in there, though, because he had, you know, he's serving God. He knew who he was serving.
Yes, amen. Hallelujah. Oh,
and I'll tell you what, that's what we're doing, people. We're serving God, too. We've got to catch hold and hang in there, too. I know we
Amen. Yes, we have.
our spots, but it don't say in the Bible who's going to be easy. I ain't never found anyhow. But I'll tell you what, I know that Jesus is coming.
Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. Will you let Jesus take care of that thing tonight? Will you let the blood of Jesus be applied to that hidden sin? That's the hallelujah that you got here. Hallelujah.
Lord, in the name of Jesus, this epidemic, in the name of God, cast out. Almighty God, in the name of Jesus,
Lord, by just speaking your word.
Oh, Lord, my God.
Hallelujah, because you are hallelujah, because you always took the strap for his healing. And Lord, we're doing just
Oh, praise God.
Hallelujah. Healing in the name of Jesus
Lord,
right now. Hallelujah.
Oh, praise God. Oh, bless you.
Just hold this side over here, John. And a little bit faster. I missed him. Meat in the boat. Now, John, there's fish right over there. Right in there, a lot of them. I want to run that one time right there. You bet your life. We need to turn it around. Yeah, turn it around. Yeah.
Since the 1880s, working in the timber has been the main source of income for many people in Shannon County.
Whoa.
Today, there are about 100 families that still make their living cutting stave bolts for barrels, cordwood for charcoal, or like Keith Roberts and Dave Bland, cutting logs to supply the dozen or so lumber mills in the area.
When I was a kid, I started going with my uncle. He was logging, and I'd go with him. And then by the time I got big enough to do it, well, I knew a little bit about what was going on, and then I just started in. It's pretty independent. We don't have a boss or anything, you know. We just work as we want to. But that's about all the time. It's about all there is to do right around here, and then I like it. It's just, I don't know. So we did like it.
There. Whoop. Whoop. Whoop out. Come here. You. Whoop. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa! What we cut in now? 12 out of these or...
How long can you work a horse like that?
Working steady about a half a day is about all one can. That's about all you'll want to stand. They'll work longer and still do all right.
Well, I'm gonna land back.
It's a lot easier on him working about a half a day. He gets hot while he works, but then he cools back off.
What about mules?
They're about the same.
They're all work on the same base.
Well, we had a team of mules now before I started going to horses. Now they was about between 20 and 25 years old, I guess, when we sold them. But a mule lives till about 30, and where a horse will live about 20 or a little better, you know. And a mule's fine where you got a lot of different people are working them, because a horse is pretty kind of bashful, like they want one man to work them all the time. They don't want to change off. And a mule, he don't care. He ain't gonna do no more than he just has to anyway. You can get more out of a horse.
You can't possibly get a mule to ever learn anything. Mule knows one thing, and that's to either bite you, kick you, or eat and sleep. That's all a mule ever did know.
How come you're still using a horse instead of one of those big tractor skidders?
Skidder's too high.
They're quite a bit cheaper. But a skidder will get out a lot more stuff, so probably 4 or 5 times as much. And then a lot of the reason everybody's going to the skidders, it's getting hard to find anybody that can work a horse.
Mule skinner is just about over with. Goodness.
It's something that it takes 3 or 4 years to learn it right, you know. And
I'm natural born, son. What are you talking about? I'm natural born mule skinner. You got the cream of the crop.
It was a bad year.
Bad on me.
But, we've been thinking about going to skidder, but I don't know whether we will or not. Won't for a while.
One thing, this little thing here, you can work a plow garden, or you can ride him, or do anything you want to. And an old skidder, when you get off him out in the woods, that's just about as far as that thing's gonna go. Well, you about ready to load these? I guess you know we're heading for 10 o'clock right now, according to my time.
It's wrong.
No, my time ain't wrong. My time's always right, but I'm getting it for the hour, not for the...
Yeah.
$6 an hour ain't nothing, Lord. Yeah, yeah. There's a bean pot. Don't get too hot. Yeah. 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 Well, get me a pole there.
There are 1,000 square miles in Shannon County, most of them covered with timber. There are 2 rivers and hundreds of creeks, springs, hills, and hollows, many with the names of families that once lived nearby. Like much of the Ozarks, it's a rugged land, easier to go around than to cross. So for most of its history, it was isolated from the mainstream of American life. But in the 1880s, that isolation was interrupted by a 40-year timber boom that left these hills barren for a generation. It began with the expansion of the nation's railroads and their need for millions of cross ties. The need was for oak trees and men skilled with an axe, and Shannon County had both. Tie hacking, rafting, and hauling were the first wage-paying jobs most of the men had ever had, and for the first time, people began to have cash to spend. Then came the sawmills, and more jobs, and more cash, and brass bands, and baseball teams, and the company stores. With this new prosperity came new people. The population swelled from 3,000 to 15,000. New communities sprang up with names like Ink and Rat and Desolate. One of the largest grew up along a creek known as Blair's.
There used to be oodles of people lived on Blair's Creek here. Worlds of them on Blair's Creek.
Was you born on this place or on down the creek?
I was born down here at the Dillard place, 5 or 6 miles south, right down Blair's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You used to work in the timber up here?
Worked in timber all my life, yeah. Born and raised right here in the timber. I was in here when old S.J. Bunker come in and pulled the first virgin timber out of Blair's Creek. That's been 72 years ago. You think you could use one?
Yes, sir. Left-handed one, ain't it?
Yeah, left-handed.
All right, hand the bevel's on this side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got quite a broad axe there.
Old Joe wanted to buy it, and I said, I don't want to sell it. So I've got it yet.
Mm-hmm.
You're tired when you pull it for 18 ties. I used to work hard. I never stopped from daylight to dark. When I was young, I worked. Enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I used to hit where I looked, but I don't do that anymore. The eyes has got too bad glamour. Old age comes on, and you've had sweat in your eyes where you worked in hay and where you hewed ties and worked hard. The eyesight decays away as you toss along with old age. The way I figure it, if I'm right.
What's that wire fence?
Yeah. I used to be stout and I ain't got the strength no more. You ever split any pine to go fishing? Now you set that fire and it'll burn.
By the early 20s, the big mills had sought out. Jobs became scarce and money was tight. Many families followed the mills to the Pacific Northwest, but most remained. To earn a living, a man had few choices: go back to farming, hack ties, or if he was literate, he could teach school.
Did I ever tell you how I got my first school? From a tie hacker? Rural schools were political. In getting there, you had to go get your own school. There was three board members in each school district, and they hired you according to maybe whether they liked you or not, whether they knew your father, or for a lot of reasons other than whether you was a good school teacher or not. Because I just graduated from high school when I first went out and made this application. I'd taken the state teacher's exam right out of high school, and I had a good friend, Hubert Wright, that lived down in the Horner School District down on Rocky, and he was a school board member, and I thought my chances might be pretty good, so I went down to talk to Hubert. So he said, well, said Everett Williams is the other director, but said, now he'll be for a certain teacher. I don't remember who it was, but said, there's one elected every year, and said, we'll have to put in a new board member that'll be for you. It's the only chance you have of getting this school. I said, well, Elvie Norris is a good friend of mine. He's a fox hunter, and I was a fox hunter, and my dad was. So I went and talked to Elvie. He said, yeah, I'll serve and be for you. So it was left up to me then to go around over the community and see the people and get them to come to the election and put Elvie Norris in. And of course, when I started campaigning, the other teachers started campaigning for a director to get elected. It would be for them to go with Everett Williams. And I was riding a good saddle horse, and I could make the community pretty easy. And I went to one fellow's house to see him, to get him to come and vote, and this was running right up to the night of the election, and it was going to be the next day, and it looked awful close, and I couldn't find this fella, and someone told me he is back in over on Mud Springs Holler, hacking ties, and camped over there. He'd been over there all winter. So I went over and found him that night, and he was there at his tent, and he had about 6 children. This is around this, just a canvas tent. He'd been there all winter, hacking ties, and I asked him if he'd come over to the meeting, election next day, and he said, no. Said, I can't do that. Said, I've got 6 kids here to make a living for. He said, I have to work every day to make a living. And I said, well, what are you making a day? And he said, well, I've already got the tie sticks cut, and my woman and I cut them yesterday, and he said, we'll hack them out tomorrow, I will, and said, I can hack about 15 ties in a day's time, and I get 10 cents a stick for them. And he said, that's $1.50. Well, I don't know where I got the $1.50, but I did have one, and I said, well, now, Oliver, if you'll come and vote, you and your wife, I'll pay you for a day's work. And he said, well, I'd sure rather come to and vote as to hack ties today, and he did. Well, the next day, they put him in as chairman of the meeting, the election, and chairman don't get a vote. And I thought, well, I wasted my $1.50. So, but he come up, and that vote was tied. And Oliver had to untie the vote. He voted for Elvie Norris, and I got my first school that way. And there was 46 people enrolled that first day, and I was, a few of them older than I was. And through the year, I used to laugh. There'd salesmen come there or something. About the only way they could tell, the teacher from the students, since some of them was older than me, I had shoes on.
There used to be over 100 one-room schoolhouses in Shannon County. Now there are none. During the late 40s, after the Depression and after the war, many families left for the cities in search of jobs. And in the 50s, when electricity was brought into the county, it came only to the towns. So the small, scattered communities gradually died, leaving only quaint place names and memories of what used to be home. And on Blair's Creek, only Henry Gore remains.
It's peaceful out here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
You used to have a lot of square dancers on Blair?
Quite a few. Yeah, that used to be one of our old pastimes. Old square dance.
Did you dance all night?
Yeah, we'd dance all night.
Did you used to call the sets?
Never did call. I danced. And after we got to drinking, I drank whiskey and danced.
How about jig dancing? Would they jig dance on Blair?
Oh, yeah. Paul Bales used to be in here from them.
Mm-hmm.
You saw Paul?
Oh, yeah, I knew Paul.
Yeah. Old Tom Bedwell, raised on Dickens Valley, across yonder on Logan. He used to, him and Paul Bales used to be the dancingest guys I ever looked at. Paul Bales, he was a case, wasn't he?
You was telling me last Friday about the old boy come in from Tennessee that nobody used to make whiskey or anything. Tell me again about that.
That's Arthur Keith. He come from Tennessee to this country and showed us how to make liquor. Yeah. It goes into cold water and condenses as you boil it in the tank. Some of you might have saw it operate, I don't know.
people here didn't make whiskey before he came in?
No. They didn't know how. He come in and showed them. That was back when I was 23-year-old. Come from Tennessee, OZK. He married across here on Logan, married Steve Ferguson's girl on Logan's Creek. Red-headed man, OZK. I'd say he's 35 when he came here from Tennessee. Learned the world how to make liquor. There needs to be some leaves took out. Some leaves are all falling now, but that's real water.
Tell me about spring, how it's run year-round?
Yeah. I reckon I've been soon be here 74 years, and I never saw it dry.
You got any water in your house?
No. No, it's just 18 foot to the door, and I didn't want no water in the house.
People still pretty friendly around here?
Well, yeah. There ain't very many to be friendly. They're scarce. But we used to have a big population of people here. But they're gone now.
You must be the keeper of Blair's Creek, the last one left.
Yeah. I never did marry and stayed with my parents till they passed away, so I'm just yet here. I ain't satisfied, but this is my home. You've got to be satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Your eyes aren't even open yet, are
No. They come 2 nights before Halloween. I never ordered those dogs. But Lord wanted me to have them, and I guess it's all right. But did any of you ever try bachelor's life? I never did marry. I never did think I wanted to marry. I stayed with my parents till they passed away. Went on.
Do you regret that at all now?
Well, a man might have lived a better life if he'd have married, might.
Where will you be buried, Henry?
On Big Creek, across here. You've been on Big Creek? Over here at Turner Graveyard. Yeah. My parents are buried over there. Lee Gore and Elizabeth. Yeah. Dad was 87 and 7 days when he died. Mother's 86 and 6 days. Yeah. Of course, I might not make that that many years. And if I don't, it'll be all right, because we owe the death debt and we'll pay it.
I'll bring you one the next time I come.
I'd rather pay you for that light now. It cost you something. I'd rather pay you if you'll take it.
You just let that light burn when you need a light, well, you just turn it on. And
Okay.
then the other one goes dead, we'll go in and get a battery, and then you'll always have one.
All
If
right.
you forget and it runs out and you don't have it that way, well, you'll have a light.
I thank you a whole lot.
And you're welcome.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate you.
And come back, boys, every one of you when you can.
We'll sure try to do it.
Yeah.
Today, 8,000 people live in Shannon County. There are 3 towns. The largest has a population of 850. This is Eminence, the county seat, population 630. The county has no doctors, no dentists, no shopping centers, no bowling alleys, no theaters. There is one county newspaper, the Current Wave. It's been published since the 1870s, and its motto is Shannon County first, the world afterward.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye, Shannon County Magistrate Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge Green presiding. Thank you and please be seated.
Let's see, first case is State versus Wood. That goes over, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
And I was 79 years old when I come onto the bench. State versus Mike Grinnell. Grimmett?
Mr. Grimmett here.
So I'd had a world of experience with people, and being chairman of the ration board during the war, I had met everybody in the county, I think. Most of them had cussed me. We'll take it up after a while. He might show up. But I doubt it. People are clannish in this county to an extent, often a very large extent. They like to know that their public officials are either native sons or have been accepted by people that they regard as leaders in the community. They don't like interlopers. I recall an instance, a case was filed against 2 prominent citizens of Carter and Shannon County on a contract for the sale of staves, barrel staves. And there was no question about the evidence, but they had a very astute attorney from St. Louis representing the plaintiff. And after he had made his opening statements to the jury, he just wilted because he could see that he, being a foreigner, as the old-timers would call him, he wasn't going to impress that jury one whit. And of course, they didn't even leave the box till they returned the verdicts for the defendants. And the defendants didn't have a leg to stand on, actually, at law. But, and it's well known among the legal fraternity that a country lawyer's got no business trying a case in the city, and a city lawyer's got no business trying a case in the country, because they don't speak the same language, some way. We'll take it up when we get back on the bench.
All right. I think his grandfather can make the bond. You're Mr. Pierce.
Those Pierces are pretty solid people.
Yeah, yeah.
Who is his grandpa, Roy? Gore. Yeah, I know him. He'd be okay.
All right.
I was just a little old farmer, lived back up here at Flat Rock. Decided to run for circuit clerk in the quarter. So I come down here to Eminence and fall. Run again with a fellow named Earl William Freeman Powell. And that's where I got my schooling, the first politics. But I got my bill bratted. They beat me. Well, I just laughed, went on about it. So I took those run for sheriff then. Got elected sheriff for 4 years. And then after Hubert Wright defeated me in that, well, I decided to run for presiding judge of the county court. And So I got elected presiding judge, and I've been elected. This makes 7 terms, 4-year terms straight. I don't know where it's what I done or where the people just kind of liked me. I don't know what it was.
Been in politics around here a long time. What are campaigns like?
Well, depends on the kind you pick. You can pick a stump campaign where there's thunder and lightning, or you can bushwhack, where you just go out and see the people. That's the best kind, I think.
Was there a lot of speech making in those days?
Oh yeah, we used to have stump campaigns. Boy, them was interesting. Get to gouge each other a little. Watch them twist. And I was a little bit of a gouger. Not bad, just enough to make them sweat a little.
Oh, I think the sheriff's race is always the most interesting here. There's most generally several running for sheriff. And I remember one race with 14 in it. The first time I ran for office, there was 14 running for sheriff.
What party were they?
All Democratic. All on the Democratic ticket.
A lot of fun in it. If you let it aggravate you and worry, but if some fellows again you, don't never treat him. If you do, try to treat him a little good for the next 4 years. Don't quit him. Don't let him quit you. If you want to really get even with them, take them a poke a little red apple or something and give them when they're fighting you. And that'll win better than anything you'd do.
Memorial Day. Memorial Day is an important event in Shannon County. It's a time when people gather at country churches and family graveyards to join in a kind of celebration.
Every Memorial Day. I've never missed one, only when I was in the service. I've never missed one since. Used to, boy, wagons would be tied all the way from where we live to a half a mile down the road there. I've seen that. And Dad and Mother, they raised all of us, 4 children right there.
Randolph there, Tom, and Dillard's, Rayfields. They all went to this school up here. And I was from 7 till 9. I lived there. I went to school with them for 2 years.
Coming back home for Memorial Day.
Well, we went away for 42 years. And we came back.
How come you came back?
Because I was born and raised here. My mother's buried here, and my sister, and
He's retired.
I retired.
All your family's here at the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
A lot
some
of them.
Good. It's good to see you.
You old coot, you did come down, didn't you?
I'm glad you came.
You did?
Yeah, instead of sitting there on the porch waiting for everybody to go
I
hunting.
wanted to come down here and empty some of them, and my wife wouldn't do it.
Oh, your wife wouldn't let you. Talking about something you don't Hard.
My children, I hope they grow up and stay right here.
Think they'll be able to?
Yeah, they can make it here. I did, and I'm giving them everything that I can create now, and I hope that at the end of my time, my last dollar, and I give it to my children so that they give them a chance to where they can make it in this area.
Late November, the beginning of a most important season in Shannon County, deer season. For about 10 days, timber work stops, the schools let out, and most of the families go hunting. These are the Pyatts, a close-knit clan and one of the most respected families in the county. They live far from any town and spend their lives working and hunting in the timber. Willie and his 7 sons live for days like this.
Yeah. I'm going to you, Jerry. I doubt if I've got any boy can walk as far in a day as I walked and worked.
Yeah.
You walked from Arkansas, ain't you, back and forth? We're talking about what we used to do. I know you did.
And you walked where?
From here to
I walked
Arkansas.
from just below Jerk Tail, Arkansas in 2 days. Corning, Arkansas.
Walk.
Walk.
Oh, yeah, people didn't think nothing about walking, doggone, just taking off and walking his bed.
The younger generation wouldn't believe the way people used to hunt here. Used to take axes and dogs, no gun at all.
And the way we used to
And they'd go out and they'd hunt all day, and they'd bring in more game than most people does with guns now. They'd kill rabbits, squirrels, possum hunt, coon hunt.
Why did you used to hunt the way you did?
Couldn't afford shells, why is that?
Back in the 30s, it was for eating. It was hard times here, wasn't it, Willie?
Yeah, we always had a few hogs and cattle. Had them milk and butter and hogs to butcher. We'd butcher. Still, the meat would run out, you know. You just have to kill it in the wintertime. You can go see things deep freeze, nothing like that. It's done pretty short before butchering time again.
Willie and them used to hunt, and they'd had them big old grab hooks you grab fish with, and they'd climb a tree, and they'd tie them on the end of a pole and reach down in a hole and pull a coon out.
This boy here,
He's a pretty good shot, ain't he?
I guess. You can figure it out yourself. He's killed.
Now, how many times did you shoot?
4.
He would have hit it, but he laid his gun over its back and then pulled the trigger.
Oh, shoot, it's too far. It's too close to him.
They don't get too close.
Huh?
They'd have a hip shot
Dude,
at him if it had been.
Get too close for you, don't he?
I don't know.
That'd have been a well down the road.
They'd get it.
That'd have been a well down the road. Well, in about a quarter while he'd have killed it.
It went in down there at the river or somewhere down there by about Fish Trap or there below the cave.
Did you faint? You pass out?
Huh?
You just...
No, but he told about it. His little brother done told me that he had missed it 7 shots.
7?
That's what he said.
3 times.
Oh, he did
He
4.
said 7.
Well, I shot 4 times.
Sure he didn't shoot
I know
7.
you took that after Grandma.
Took that after Grandma, did he?
Yeah. Well, I saw him watching that place, and some guy come along. I didn't know him, and I turned and talked to him. Oh, God, did you kill her the first shot?
Yeah, sure did.
How close was she to you?
Oh, about as far as that brick down there, that last one down there.
Uncle Bill, where you gonna hang it at? Across this limb right here? No, we was going home and I looked out in the woods and there was 3 standing there. It was the biggest one.
Come on, over your head.
Huh?
But it's long enough to draw it back down to it. Just pick up. That might be all he's gonna skin me.
Mm-hmm. Whatever we say.
Why do you suppose all your boys decided to live pretty close around here?
I don't know. If they ever leave, they don't stay gone no time. They're like all sorts. I guess I never did like to be away from home. Never did. So don't you like to go back to your home where you was raised? It's just nature. I don't know. It's just nature, people. Brings back memories of whenever you was a kid. Times you've had, good times and like that. But when we lived on the river, I'll guarantee you that I dream about living down there 2 or 3 times a year. I sure do. I had the best time I lived, the best I ever did in my life. Shucks, didn't have to work, make a crop in summer. And if I wanted to take off all winter and hunt, I could do it. Didn't take no money. Like I say, didn't have no electric, no telephone bill, or no dang payments. And I never owned a dang car till, I guess it's up around 50. And doggone, you decide how much money it takes. But man ain't gonna spend it. It ain't gonna do him no good. No how is it? I'm a lot like Ralph Lucas that way. He said if a man had $1 in one hand and a rock in the other, if he didn't ever intend to spend that $1, it wasn't worth nothing to him. And that's about right. So I would like to have a little to put me away, never a die, and that does. Use the rest of it, wouldn't you? Well, if men don't get a little enjoyment, what's life worth? It ain't, is it?
That's right. What do you do for enjoyment?
Fish and hunt like that. Yeah, fish and hunt. That's pretty clean sport, I'll tell you, man. If he's a hunting or a fishing, he ain't gonna get in the much that he oughtn't to, is he?
happens if the dogs do get after a wolf?
Well, they'll follow that wolf as far as it
They can.
goes, and sometimes they go 30 miles, and it's very possible that my waiting here will be all in vain. They may not come back here till tomorrow.
Your dad was telling us that boys always come home. They don't seem to like it away from here much. Why is that?
Well, to me, when you get off away from here, you don't really meet anybody. It's a friendly guy. And I guess one thing, you know, us raised here, about all of us, you know, we know everybody. We personally know them. And you get out there, you don't know nobody, and they don't care if you know them or not. And it's just so much different. I just don't care nothing about it. What kind of a frog sticker you got?
That's a browning.
People trade a lot of knives around here?
Yeah, about everybody.
Yeah, a lot of knife trading is a big thing. It isn't my thing, but a lot of people sure like to trade knives.
Yeah, a lot of them, they call it poke knives.
What's that again?
I'd just like, if I'd take my knife out of my pocket and see him and never see it, and I'd say, well, we're just poke knives, and he'd just reach in the pocket, and I'd give him mine, and he'd give me his, regardless of how it went, you know. We'd never look at the other knife. They do a lot of that.
You won't get hurt very bad because neither one of the knives will be any good. Drop a knife with maybe no blade in it or just a half of one. Getting the better with somebody in any trade is that's a big thing.
Kenny Swinney's the fellow that's hard to get ahead there.
Oh, you bet. Kenny Swinney will skin you every time you trade with him. I've traded with him lots and got skinned every time I traded. Traded dogs with him lots. He won't lie to you about a dog, but he won't tell you all the truth about one. That dog can have some qualities. It can have some good qualities and that you'll recognize, but he'll also have some qualities that you won't put up with that Kenny will never tell you anything about it. You just have to find out about that after it's too late. after the trade and after you fed the dog for a while, you'll find out. Oh, he sure popped it to me a few times. I have to go up and stay with him a few days to get even.
Up! Up! Look! Hey! Look! Don't look like it did when you saw it, does it?
That's the same one, huh?
That's the same one.